I do this, that levels the playing field in my favor. So now we've got a lopsided playing field. Because when I come back at you, I'm going to destroy your side of the playing field. I'm going to destroy you.
Okay. Oh God, what was that?
Basil Hayden's Dark Rye, not a
Basil
sponsor.
Hayden's Dark Rye.
My favorite whiskey for sure.
Fucking Eddie sold that to us at the bar.
And he also subscribed.
Right. Thank you, Eddie Cruz, for subscribing.
Yeah.
But he sold it to us at the bar, and then the next day he showed up.
And it was gone.
Yeah, he's like, can I take a picture for the social media? I was like, you can, but it's not full anymore. It's like 3/4 of the way done.
So you told me about this story about this guy who built a bulldozer tank in Colorado, and you said, dude, you gotta watch this documentary. It's called Tread. It's on Amazon Prime. And I was like, all right, cool. And you're like, I really want to talk to you about it. So I was like, it's probably gonna be pretty lame or whatever.
Well, the reason I wanted to talk about it, because I remember like when the pandemic first started, like I was like going through Amazon, and if you ever did a deep dive on Amazon, you notice that there's a bunch of like random shit on there. And this one just kind of snuck up under the radar. Like I just kind of like stumbled on it. And it's about a story about this dude. His name's Marvin Heemeyer. And he fucking took a bulldozer or a crawler dozer and just ran it ran it into fucking buildings. He drove it down Main Street, and he was just going like crazy. Well, as crazy as you can go at 8 miles an hour, but he was going crazy.
No, it was crazy. It wasn't just a little bit. Like, it was fucking crazy.
But it was targeted crazy. It wasn't like insane crazy. He was like, the places he was hitting were like fucking like the people that were in those buildings had fucked with him. And I believe, we'll go over the story right now, but I believe that what he did, like I understand why he did what he did. He didn't kill anybody. He fucked up a lot of property. He did. He totally did. But like, well, watch, we'll talk about it. And this is okay. Anyway, so the story is Marvin Heemeyer. All right. He's this basically chill ass dude. I think he's a chill ass dude. He did some crazy shit, but he's a chill ass dude. All right.
He's not a chill ass dude.
He's a chill ass dude. Anyway, he moved to Colorado, or actually, no, he was stationed in the Air Force, he was in the Air Force, got stationed in Colorado, loved it so much, decided he was just going to go ahead and stay there. And he decided to build his business he had a muffler shop. I think it was in it was in Granby, Colorado. That's where he ended up moving, was Granby, Colorado. And he had a pretty chill life.
He was like a master welder. Like,
he was a master welder.
Like everyone said that like that they wouldn't have anybody else work on their car besides him. Like, he was an amazing, amazing welder. But he moved to that town thinking that, it's like a nice little town. It's gonna be chill here.
But he understood, like, because I actually sat there.
That's not what happened.
But I listened to his tape. Like, I tried to listen. It's like 2.5 hours long. And, he understood that he was an outsider and he was trying to fit in. You know what I mean? Like, he was trying to, he wasn't trying to rock the boat. He understood that he
was keeping his head down.
He needed to make friends with the people around there. You know what I mean? He couldn't just go in there and just like fucking install his like business and not give a fuck about like everybody around him. Right. He knew he needed to make friends.
And even like there was people on the documentary that were talking about how like they thought he was like a really nice dude and that they would never expect him to like
do that shit.
Yeah. It was like that guy in the bar that was sitting down, like he was like sitting down in the bar and he was saying like, he was like, yeah, they fucked him. Like they ruined his life or whatever. And like, if you knew Marv, he was like a great guy, but they like fucked his shit up,
Yeah. And like, so the story goes is, there was this piece of land that was up for option in Granby, Colorado. And, he's at the auction shit and he's ready to bid. I think he said he wasn't willing to spend more than $65,000 on this piece of land. So he's sitting there and they're bidding on the land. And like, there's this guy in front who goes, 35,000. And then as soon as Marvin Heemeyer like sees this shit or hears it, he goes, it's like 40,000. And then this dude like stands up, like You know what I'm saying? And then he like turns around and he's like, who the fuck just bid on this land? Like he thought he was just gonna get that shit. You know what I mean? He didn't expect to have to like
Fight for it.
Right? So anyway, so once he sees who it is, whatever, he's like, all right, boom, you know, 50. And then, you know, and Marvin Heemeyer's like, fuck it, 55. And then, but the guy that was hanging out, okay, so the guy who was bidding on this, his name was Cody Dochev, and he was being funded by a guy named, what's his name, Gus Harris. And, you know, he says, I'm not going to pay any more than 50 grand for this piece of land, dude. Goes any higher than that, that's it. And then fucking Marvin Heemeyer got the price up to like, I think it was like 65 grand. And so he won the bid on the like legit fair and square, won the fucking bid, and like, you know what I mean? Mm-hmm. And then after the bidding was over, Cody Dochev walks up to him and he's like, I mean, Marvin didn't explain exactly what the dude said, but he basically said, he's like, he went up to him and he started talking shit.
Yeah, he gave
him,
he's
like, who the fuck do you think you are?
An ear beating.
Yeah, because he was an outsider. He's like, who the fuck do you think you are? Like, he thought he was just gonna get that shit like easy peasy.
But all that fool's friends. Well, I don't know. That's the thing though, because Marvin Heemeyer said that happened, but everybody else says that it didn't happen.
No, not everybody else. They asked Cody Dochev and Gus Harris if it happened, and they both said, I don't remember. Oh, sorry, I'm being biased. I don't remember that particular conversation happening.
Okay. I guess just tell the story and then I'll tell you what I actually think.
No. I want you to like chime in like as I'm going because again, because you're right. He did. They said
I think that fool was just like there was something wrong with him. Like,
no, okay. His friend. All right. Anyway, all right. So let's continue with the story. So anyway, as soon as he gets the property, all right, what happens is he needs to be hooked up to the city's sewer line, right? They said he needed to be hooked up to the sewer line because he had a septic system, which septic systems are perfectly fine. If you don't know the difference, essentially a septic tank is just like this big ass tank that sits underground and collects your waste. And eventually like a truck or something comes and empties it versus a sewer line. You're connected to the city's main sewer line and that's how your sewage gets emptied, whatever. Okay. So he had a septic system, but they were like, nah, you need to be connected to the sewer line. But what ended up happening is like to connect to the sewer line, they said he had to spend like, it was going to cost him around like 60 to 80 grand to hook up to this fucking sewer line, right? That he didn't want to hook up to. And on top of that, like the land, like, so once he bought that building, like, or bought that land.
Well, actually, yeah. So that fool, Cody Dochev bought the land next to him
or north or south of him.
And the thing was that before he could have made his sewer line to where it would have gone through that land and connected like there and it would have been cheaper. But that fool, like, well, at least in Marv's head, he bought that land to fuck him because when he needed to connect to the sewer line, he couldn't ask him because he was like, no, you can't run your shit through my land. So he had to do it like he had to go around, remember?
Right, and then the thing is, like, when he first bought the land,
it was like what they say, it was like 400 yards or some shit like that that they had to like excavate.
But
and do all this shit.
before even that, like they wanted to get, or he thought he was gonna get access to like the sewer district in the town or whatever. Mm-hmm. But like the Thompson family, who is basically like that rich like family that owns the town essentially because they own everything in the town. They had decided to not like let him have access to the sewer district in that town. So he was gonna have to like do that fucking roundabout thing about building the fucking going around Cody Dochev's land and everything. And all Cody Dochev had to do was give him an easement, which essentially like I didn't look it up too hard, but it sounds like essentially permission to build through his land to hook up to the sewer line. But he was like, nah, I'm not gonna do that shit. I'm not gonna give you the fucking easement. Like, and that's what was in his head, man. It was Marv's head that this guy, he didn't give me the easement because I had outbid him on the land like 10 years ago.
Yeah, but think about it this way. Okay, I'm gonna play devil's advocate because it's also like, how would you feel about like you have a business and stuff like that, and then this guy next to you needs to do construction to go through your shit? Like, you would be a little bit upset about that too.
You're talking about Cody Dochev?
Yeah, and Cody Dochev's business was like he was running a cement plant.
But here's another thing. If you listen to the tapes, again, I listened to the tapes. Cody Dochev, he owned the concrete company in Colorado, right? In that same town or whatever. And he had enough land, like where his original plant was, because this is a big fucking company, right? He had enough land to do it where he was at. Like he could have just like built his batch plant right next to where his original plant was, so he didn't have to worry about. He didn't have to deal with any of this shit, right? But he's like, I really do think he's just like, nah, I'm gonna fuck with Marv Heemeyer. I'm gonna get him to sell me that land at a discount, the one that I was supposed to get originally anyway.
And Marv's whole thing was that it was also like he called it like the boys club or whatever. Like
no, that wasn't Marv who called it that. Actually, no.
Yeah, it was Marv.
No, it was Stuart Spencer. Stuart Spencer, his best friend. Because like on Thursdays.
Is that the bar guy?
Huh?
Is that the bar guy?
I don't know if it's a bar guy, but he's the guy that like on Thursdays used to get together and write snowmobiles. Like they used to write snowmobiles.
Lame.
Huh?
Lame.
I don't know. It looked kind of fun.
No,
it looked kind of fun. It's a bunch of cats getting together to write snowmobiles. You know what I'm saying? And like anyway, but it was like, but it's also his best friend. So like whatever. But his best friend told me, he's like, yeah, like there's like no, like we know there's like a what do you call it?
It's like basically like a hierarchy. Like the town, like the basically the city council is dominated by what are these fools' names? The Thompsons.
Right, because Ron Thompson is like the older son of the three Thompsons that exist currently. And he is he's the older brother, and he was head of the town hall, like the town board when all this shit was going on.
And like they're also like they live in a small little town. Like I don't know what, like you could compare it to like Pecos, right? Like Pecos in Texas, like
or like Hobbs.
Yeah,
Hobbs
like it's
Mexico.
really tiny. Like this town. I mean, I don't know how it is now, but at the time it was really really tiny, and those fools are millionaires, and they decide like they basically live in that town, and like the kind of vibe that you get is that they're millionaires and they could live like in LA if they wanted to, like comfortably, like with a big ass house, like nice.
But they do all their own work. Like they don't hire employees.
Right.
Like they have their own people and shit.
But like even then, like I think that like if I'm being on Marv's side now, it's like well, why do these millionaires want to live here? Well, it's because they have control over the town. Like,
well, not necessarily like not why they want to live here.
They're on the city council. Like,
well, because
they make all these like
they're
decisions.
old money. Like their dad, I think his name was Vic Thompson or Don Thompson, something like that. He started that business there, the Thompson Excavating Company, like years ago. Like so they are a legacy family. You know what I'm saying? They're set up like they run that place and shit.
Right.
You know what I'm saying? So
that's, I feel like, see, that's the way I see it. Like, they're not there to fuck him. They're just there because they've been there their whole lives, and they're just one of those like grassroots family. We're like, oh, we've been here, we're never gonna leave. Like, blah blah blah. This is our town. You know, we've made millions of dollars, but we made it here, and we made it honestly. Like, it's honest work. But the way Marv saw it was like, well, like they're millionaires and they're out to get me, and they're corrupt, and they're like running the town, and there's no way I can get past them because like they don't like me, and they're part of the boys club. Like,
right, because well
that's like super paranoid, dude.
But okay, let's add to that. Okay, so remember the cat Patrick Bauer. Patrick Bauer, he runs Sky High News up in Granby, Colorado, and he was saying like he like, I mean, it's a small town newspaper, whatever. You know, like if you're the Thompsons, you know, you're millionaires, you gotta have media in your pocket, right? Like you gotta have like this dude's obviously like, I mean, no one talked about it, but I mean, he's definitely on the Thompson side of this shit right here. But you know, he wrote an article like, you know, kind of blasting the like, I guess like Marv's
What was Marv's business though? I forgot what he did in that little warehouse.
The one that he built the thing in?
Yeah. The tank? Yeah.
Oh, I don't think he had he didn't have a business there.
It was
yet.
just like a warehouse, right?
Because the muffler shop was in another town in Colorado, right? He moved here.
And he had multiple shops.
Right, exactly.
In different towns.
But he was trying to set something up. He had plans. Like if you listen to the tapes, he had plans. He wanted to like build like a lot of little warehouses and rent them out to people. Actually, no, he wanted to build a boat storage unit. And no, he had a boat storage unit there. That's what it was. He had a boat storage unit there, and that it was making money. Like he was making good money off that.
The bulldozer wasn't his, right? It was some other fool's.
No, so the bulldozer, I mean, if we're already like skipping all the way to there, is that
we can go back.
Huh?
We can go back.
Okay, well, okay, so before we get to the bulldozer, like, okay, so Marv filed a lawsuit against the Cody dude, right?
Right.
Because Cody came in and he was like, all right, well, I'm going to build this concrete batch plant right next to your shit. And the town had they had changed the zoning on that piece of land to where he was allowed to do it. But like, the zoning happened actually before Marv had bought the land. It happened a long time in 1991. He didn't know this. Like he didn't know that it was already zoned so this fool could build this fucking batch plant there because they already had planned for something like that to be built there. And so when Cody was like about to do his shit, Marv said like, nah, file a lawsuit, stop him from building the batch plant there. Okay. But like as soon as he did that, like, you know, his lawyer told him like, oh yeah, don't worry, we'll win this. We'll win this easy, blah, blah, blah. No big deal. And that's another thing that got into his fucking head is that like,
see,
this
fool thinks that everybody fucked him. He thinks that every single person like along the way was against him, and that's not true, dude. Like it's like one of those things.
It's hard to think. It's hard.
This whole town's conspiring against me. I can't get away from it. It's so dumb.
But it's
like,
we can't
like,
talk to that.
I believed him at first. Like when I was listening, like, you know, there's a little tape and stuff. There's a little tape that he made. He put in a little record player or his little recorder, and then he hit the little record button, and then he was like, I'm gonna be really angry, and I'm gonna was like, see, that's a psycho thing to do too.
No, because
that's some manifesto shit.
But
dude.
he literally starts off the tape explaining that he didn't want to do it. He didn't want to make the tape. He didn't want to make the video. He didn't want to do any of that shit. His friend told him, go ahead, record yourself before, I guess, and I don't know if he told him what he was going to do, but record yourself before you do this.
No, well, actually, yeah. Then
and actually, he told him, don't just record yourself on tape. Like, take a video of yourself doing it. And he's like, I'm not about that video shit. I'll record myself on tape to do it, but that's what I'll do. I'll record myself on tape. And the thing is, like, when all this shit was going on, the lawsuit and whatever, he sat down, like a lot of us do, in like
in a hot tub.
But he sat down in a hot tub, so you know.
A lot of us don't do that.
No, because a lot of us don't have hot tubs.
Yeah. He sat down in a hot tub and he was drunk. He admitted that he was drunk. He admitted that.
Okay, but you have drunk thoughts, but when you wake up in the morning, like you can just kind of like,
yeah, you're like, whoa, shit,
no, that's a bad idea. So, but he didn't do that.
But his thought was, I'm gonna make a tank and I'm gonna crush the whole city down.
No. Yes, but
he's a fucking psycho. No,
he's
dude.
not. He's not
yes,
a psycho.
He is,
he's not.
Dude.
He
yes,
gave
he
himself.
Is. Maybe he did get dicked down by the whole town, but that's not a reason to be a fucking crazy asshole and build a tank and fucking. The way he built the tank too is like amazing. Like,
but again, no. Okay, so there's just okay. So this is the crazy thing is that
the whole time he was building it, he's like welding it, like it took fucking
right.
it took a year and a half to build it. That's what he said. It took a year and a half, and he never thought maybe I shouldn't do this.
No, he did, because remember he said that he took like I think it was like 2-3 months off, or maybe it was like a month to go hang out with his family because his dad died. And so he went there to go like hang out with his family and talk to them. And he signed over all of his stuff. Like he gave them all the money that he's made over the years and everything like that. But you know, he sat and he thought at that point whether he should, like he even said to himself, he's like, maybe I'll go and chill the fuck out, reflect on what I'm about to do and change my own mind. He's like, maybe I'll change my own mind about what the fuck I'm going to do by taking a vacation. And when he came back, he obviously didn't change his own mind because he knew what he wanted to do. And like,
yeah, but I feel like every like mass shooter guy or like
he's not a mass
serial
shooter.
killer guy.
That's totally different.
No, it's the same shit.
Not.
It's the same exact shit, dude. It is. It's
no, because when
he targeted a group of people, right, with some fucking crazy ass idea.
Right, but he didn't target.
And
like,
they always feel like they're justified. Like they always like they'll write like a letter or something. Like they always feel like, oh, this is the reason I did it, and I want people to hear my voice because they're not going to understand me. But if I try to make them understand, then they'll get it. That's fucking psycho crazy people shit, dude.
It's not psycho crazy. I'll get to why especially why I don't think it was psycho crazy. Like, you know what I mean? Like I felt like he thought he was being fucked with, and he did what in his mind thought it was like the right thing. Again, maybe it wasn't like
it definitely wasn't
great way of approaching it, but
right, you could have just moved.
Wait, no, there was a reason he didn't move. Like, cause I think his,
he's stubborn?
no, his ex-girlfriend, Trisha McDonald. She told him, she's like, dude, you need to get the fuck out of here. And he's like, no, dude, like, because he started viewing his situation as like, he's like, you know what? Like, I don't have any kids. I'm successful, right? So I have enough money to where I can just hang out and like, you know, go on my snowmobile rides because that's what I love to do, you know, whatever.
Lame.
Stop laughing at me. You're so dumb. Like, anyway, and, you know, and also in his mind, like, yeah, he did think that the whole town was like kind of like jealous about
Everyone.
his lifestyle.
Every single one. Of them.
Anyway,
Literally every single person that you.
not every single person. No.
Except for that one guy.
Well, his homie, the whole Thursday crew, the whole Thursday. So every Thursday he got together with a group of people and they rode snowmobiles and they all loved him. They all loved him.
Well, yeah.
But they're the ones who actually knew him and
don't
they
think
all
that-
loved him.
you don't think
no,
that-
I don't think that any
You don't
of
think
the,
that a mass shooter guy would have like a bowling club or something?
No, because not one of those, like, again, not one of those cats that you're talking about, like the Las Vegas dude, the Columbine people, whatever. None of them had like anybody after the fact say that, like, you know, oh, like we love them or whatever.
Yeah, but like there hasn't been like a documentary about that shit. Like from like that's what I'm saying is like this documentary seemed like it was like kind of like taking his side almost, you know?
No, it doesn't. It was explaining the details. If anything, it was trying to explain from the town
they had
side.
like this, they had like the
No,
soft,
it was from the town side because they got all the townspeople together. Like they got the Patrick dude, they got Gus, they got
Right.
the Thompsons.
And if you
You know what? And we'll get to that because like at
No, but
the
if-
very end of the documentary, the Thompsons say some shit that just shows the kind of people they are.
Well,
it shows the kind of people they
all
are.
I'm saying is like if you feel like you've like fucked somebody over, then like you know like every time like there's a documentary about something like they'll be like oh like fucking I don't know Ted Cruz declined to be on camera, right?
Right.
Like all those fools were like okay yeah like we'll tell you what happened like
Anyway.
this fool went crazy and like dicked us all down and like
No, they dicked him down. That's why he even said in his like in the tapes, he was like, he went up to Ron Thompson, the Thompson family, right? The other two brothers,
Thompson brothers.
not Ron Thompson. Ron Thompson died. The other two brothers, and he went up to them and he told them, "It's like, listen, your family fucked me out of a lot of money. Like, I'm gonna need you to pay me. Like, you know, just give me this X amount." He didn't say how much it was, but the Thompson dude was just like, "That's not gonna happen. It's not gonna happen, dude."
No, but that's also not how it happened. Like,
Yeah, no, he said it.
no, but he was driving by.
No. He walked up to him first. He walked up to him first and said, "This you're gonna have to pay me." Okay, cool. And the guy said, "I'm not paying you shit, right?"
Right.
And
as
then
any,
he was
as any
and
logical
then
person would
as
do.
the guy like as Marv drove away, the fucking Thompson dude was just like, "Suck my dick," and then like he's like, "That's not gonna happen either, dude."
Yeah, I would tell him to suck my dick too.
Okay, there you go. You're the Thompsons in this scenario.
Yes.
You're the Thompsons.
No, yeah.
Yeah, you guys are
like
assholes.
no, and the way he was like you're making him seem a lot nicer than he was. Like
He was super nice.
No.
What?
He drove up to him and told him like, "Oh yeah, like your family fucked me out of a lot of money and blah 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 all that." But he's basically saying that he could have made a business and made a lot of money, but your family fucked him. Like
Yeah.
that's what he's saying. It's like okay, so sorry, like that's
But
fucking,
also, his dad was on the Thompson dad was on the board that didn't want to let him into the sewer district in the first place because all this shit could have been avoided if they just said, you know what, you can attach to the sewer district, no easy peasy, lemon fucking squeezy.
okay. So then
now
it's
done deal.
Okay, my argument is that all of this shit could have been avoided too if he would have just attached to the sewer line. It would have costed a lot of money, but obviously he had a lot of money to gain.
He couldn't attach to a sewer line because he had to go through Cody Dochev's land.
No,
he
but-
needed the easement, dude.
No, but they said that he needed the easement to get through the land,
Uh-huh.
but there was another way to connect to it. So he could have done that. He could, and if
Yeah,
it
but
was,
80 grand?
Yeah, but
You're just
you-
gonna take that 80 grand hit like a bitch?
we both
Nah,
know.
nah,
yeah, that's what I'm
nah.
saying. See, that's dumb.
You don't take that 80 grand hit like
That's
a bitch.
dumb. That's some pride shit.
You gotta fight. You
and that's why.
Yeah,
That's
you don't
what-
get
that's
you don't
why-
get
that's
bent
why he
over and
ended
fucked
up.
over.
That's
No,
why-
you
that's why he ended
you
up.
do your you fucking anyway.
That's dumb.
You
Like
go- anyway.
he could. Okay, if you're a smart business.
Okay,
Wait. If you're a smart businessman and you stand to make a lot of money, you know that you have to invest money, right? And
He
shit
wasn't
like
trying
that-
to make a lot of money. He
shit-
wanted to retire.
Right. Okay. So either way, but that's what he said though, right? That was his argument to that guy is like, oh, you fucked us out of a lot of money. Like, or you fucked me out of a lot of money, right? So he's like, oh, I need you to pay that money back. First of all, that's fucking stupid. That's like if like you went like you have a bar and then CV, well, fucking Black Market. Black Market was there, it's a bar in El Paso. They were there, and then CVS took over Black Market's like spot or whatever. They fucked them. Like they did fuck them. Like they fucked them pretty hard, right? Like that's like if the owner of Black Market went up to like CVS guy and was like, I was gonna make so much money and you fucked me out of that. So now, Mr. CEO of CVS, you have to pay me that money.
No, I think it's different. That's what, see, the disconnect is that it's different because it's in a small town. Everything's personal because everybody knows each other. You know what I'm saying?
I think it's only personal to him, dude.
Nah, okay. Like, okay, let's move on. It's not personal just to him. Like, they all knew him. See, that's what I'm saying. The Thompsons are shiesty motherfuckers. Anyway, so he files a lawsuit, right? And then Cody Dochev goes up to him and says, like, hey, listen, bro, get rid of that lawsuit. I'll give you the easement. You know what I'm saying? Like, he told him that shit. Like, he's like, get rid of the lawsuit. I'll give you the easement. And then it's like solved. And Marv's like, no, like, why am I going to take, like, I'm going to let this dude muscle me into this shit? Nah, fuck that. Like, Cody's the one that started that shit. So he's like, all right, cool.
Right. Again, another dumb pride thing.
Yeah. Okay. I'll give you that. Anyway.
It's all just dumb pride.
Yeah, because like he went up to Cody. No, Cody went up to him and be like, all right, let me buy the land off you. He's like, all right, I want $275,000 for it. And Cody was like, okay. And he's like, how about $350? And Cody was like, okay. And he's like, how about $400? You know what I mean? Like, so I get like he was picking a fight with Cody. However, he did end up selling the land to the guy, to a guy named Travis. Okay, so this is where we get to the bulldozer, right? Here's where we get to the bulldozer.
Oh, yeah. It was a bulldozer. bulldozer. Oh, okay. I thought you were going to join in with me.
No, I wasn't going to do that. Okay, so anyway.
That's the only cool part of this story, by the way.
No, it's not. The whole thing is like, once you
it's pretty outrageous.
Once you dissect it, it's like, what? Okay.
Yeah, it is crazy.
So Marv goes to California to an auction, and he's going to go, like, he went and got this bulldozer. It was a Komatsu D355 bulldozer. Okay,
good choice. That's a good choice.
You don't know anything about
I personally would have gone with the John Deere, but
honestly, he was fucking up cat like hold on, I'm getting to it. Like, stop. Anyway, so he went and bought a Komatsu.
Dude, that'd be a
bulldozer.
sick ad. Like fucking a warehouse, and then the fucking bulldozer bursts out. Komatsu.
Oh God.
Do you want to get even?
Oh Jesus, dude. Anyway, so listen, I'm gonna give you like some specs on this thing. Okay.
Let's level the playing field.
This fucking thing is 12 feet tall. Okay, it's 20 feet long, 10 feet wide. Right?
Power windows, power locks.
No, none of that.
AC blows cold.
It has a 410 horsepower, like turbocharged motor. The cubic inches on this motor is like, what was it? 1,175 cubic feet. Just to give you like some kind of like context, like most muscle cars like now like show up with like maybe 5.0s, you know, like, and they're like 454 cubic inches, or
that's almost
even
like,
lower, like 350 cubic inches. 350 is a standard for like a Chevy Camaro.
I think like an Acura Integra is like pretty close to that bulldozer.
No, it's like what, 1.8 or 1.8 liter. I don't know the cubic inches on a fucking Acura Integra. Anyway, but like this thing had like 1,000 cubic. It's a huge ass motor. Anyway, so operational weight of this thing is 97,000 pounds, or almost 50 tons. Like, this thing is fucking huge, right?
Right.
Like, what do you call it? But the max speed, and this is what I thought was interesting, is like, it's like 8 miles an hour. Like, it can go 8 miles an hour. You know what I'm saying? Like, that's not that fast. But it's...
Well, yeah, it's like a tank.
Yeah, it's a tank. It's fucking huge. Anyway, so he buys this thing, and he parks it in front of his property with a for sale sign, because he eventually he got it for $37,000. I looked at the retail price for one of these now, and they sell for like, you can buy one for like, they're almost like 80 grand. Low end 60. So he got it on a fucking steal.
Right, because they saw what it can do.
No, well, maybe. No, okay, hold on. So anyway, so he had an auction at his property, right? So he was auctioning off the bulldozer, the land, auctioning off like all his shit. And once the auction finished, the land sold. But the only thing that didn't sell was the fucking bulldozer. The bulldozer didn't sell, and he had it at a sale price of $37,000, so way less than what the retail was, and it still didn't move.
Yeah, but you have to think about how much it cost at that time.
Well, yeah, it's like, and now it's older, and it costs way more than that. That model that year costs more than what he was selling it for.
But there actually might be like some sort of like collectors kind of thing, dude.
No one is gonna like.
You don't know that. Just because you're not into bulldozers doesn't mean that nobody else in the world is into bulldozers.
I looked at bulldozer sales sites like for strictly bulldozers, like, and they sell for this much. But I mean, they compare it to like, like sand crawlers and like other shit that they have to like use for construction. Like they're around the same price. This thing was like, I guess it was like, as you said, a very durable, pretty good bulldozer that sold
I think that's a little bit of an understatement.
Anyway. He goes to so he auctions off all this land, right? This guy, Travis, buys the land. And the only thing that doesn't sell is the bulldozer. And in Marv's head.
Right. And that was what I was going to say too. That's what he's not telling you is that this whole time he's always talking about God. Like there's some calling from God to, like he always has this God thing. No. Everything that he says.
I'm gonna get to that.
That's psycho crazy person shit.
I'm gonna get to that.
That's psycho crazy people shit, dude.
Like, okay, so he's like, okay, like the only thing that didn't sell was the bulldozer, right? So he's like shit, like that must be a sign that like I need to do this shit. You know what I mean? Like if the only thing that didn't sell was the one thing that I was trying to get rid of, like another thing I was trying to get rid of, like it didn't sell. I was like, all right, cool. So he sold the land. And then he started renting the warehouse that was on his land from the Travis dude to start like building the bulldozer essentially. And as he's like trying to park the bulldozer inside the garage, literally 1 inch of clearance. It fit just perfectly. And he's all like, why was it so perfect? Like, it must be another sign that I need to do this shit, bro.
He's a fucking psycho.
They made him that. They made him what he was, dude. Like, they fucked with him, and they're going to get what they got coming to him. Anyway.
That's fucked up.
Anyway, moving on. So, actually, to add to what you were saying, so, like, I guess we were talking about, like, the movies and shit that he was watching while he was inside the warehouse.
I still, honestly, despite everything that we've talked about, I still can't believe that you're still vouching for him.
I don't know. I kind of dig. It's because I hate people trying to fuck with people and think they can just get over without any kind of consequence. You know what I'm saying? Like,
right,
I think they fucked with him and they weren't expecting, because everybody does this. They fuck with you and they just don't think that like, oh, I can just fuck with you and there'll be no consequence. Right?
They don't think you're ever going to shoot up the school. I get it.
Oh, Jesus. No, it's not the same. Like,
yes, it is. This is the exact same
not
situation.
The same. I'll explain why it's not the same. Anyway.
It is, dude.
So he's making this tractor, right? Let's talk about the construction of the thing, okay? So like the double steel plating. So he would take big ass pieces of steel and then he would like put spacers.
Remember, he's a master welder.
He's a master welder. So he would take big ass pieces of steel and then he would like space them out like a little bit, so that way he can make like almost like a container box that's like double steel blocked off, and he would pour concrete inside of it. That way, like that's extra protection. You know what I'm saying? And he was like making this big ass shell.
He had monitors inside with cameras that were put behind 3-inch thick Lexan, like it's like some sort of like kind of like plexiglass
glass or something.
Yeah, it's like plexiglass or some shit like that. But the cameras were behind it so that he could see outside of the tank. And on top of that, he had an air compressor inside the tank so that because he knew that he was going to run over some shit. So when dust collected inside his little viewport, he could open the air compressor and blow it off so that he could still keep seeing. Psycho.
And that's why he was driving it. And then he also installed, like, he carved a little hole, like, or he dremeled out a little hole that he can
stick his wiener in?
So he can install his 50 cal.
Oh my God.
He had a 50 cal that he installed into the fucking thing, all right?
Yeah, I got 50 cal too. I got 50 cal too.
This is how much they pissed him off. This is how much, like, no, don't fuck with people. He even said it on his tapes. He's like, I hate it that people think they can fuck with people and suffer no consequences. Well, I'm going to show them the consequences. And so that, boom. Anyway.
Right. What a psycho would say.
Anyway. So like it was anyway, so he built this thing. He was also watching A Man Apart. I don't know. Do you ever seen A Man Apart? No. It's a Vin Diesel movie where like it's a Vin Diesel movie where like Vin Diesel, basically his family gets killed by, I think it was a bunch of drug dealers, and then he like, goes vigilante and kills them all essentially. And he's left alone in the world. And so like, that was one of the DVDs they found inside of Marvin Heemeyer's like little storage unit. Okay. All right. What were you giving me a look for?
I don't know, man.
I don't know. Anyway.
You know who else? The Columbine shooters watched Natural Born Killers before they went and shot up the school?
Is that true?
Yep.
Anyway.
Yeah, there's a little bit of a correlation here, isn't there?
But I think it's different. I really do.
No, it's not, dude. It's some fucking crazy dude in Colorado.
I think they got together, fucked with him, and then he did what he like. This is why.
I think Colorado is like
no.
low-key Florida, dude.
No, here we go. All right, ready? Like, let's talk about like, I guess the timeline. Like he was going like he built the fucking thing, right? And everybody like, oh, that's something that happened.
Thank you. Jennifer's checking if the recording is still good. So I'm saying thank you to her. Thank you very much.
Thank you, Jennifer. So while he's building this thing, like Travis, the guy who owns the land,
right.
He said he has to get like someone to insure the land. Like, so to get insurance, he has to have someone come in and inspect the thing to make sure that like everything's up to par, or else they're not going to insure you. So they're going through blah, 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 blah. And they go into Marvin Heemeyer's garage, right? And they're looking at like he had covered the tractor trailer the dozer with a blue tarp, and they asked him what it was, and he said he made up some bullshit about how like the university had like professors down there that were like creating a new coolant system that would allow the tractor or the dozer to operate under intense heat, and so that's what he was like building and doing, and they were just kind of like, okay, and they just like that was it, you're insured. Later, like, you know what I'm saying? So, like, he's like, why didn't they catch me? You know why didn't they catch me? Because I was meant to do this, dude.
God, thank you for giving me this Komatsu 500 bulldozer. And, dude, he's a fucking psycho, dude. I don't know.
355.
No. Okay,
Komatsu
so also,
55.
we should mention, let's get to the fun part.
The fun? There's nothing about this is fun.
Well, you're saying that it's like this whole retribution thing and like everybody had what's coming to them and it's like...
Yeah,
no.
it's not fun. It's just like a thing that happened.
Well, it's fun for me because I think he's a fucking psycho.
I don't think he's a fucking psycho. I think he's a good dude. He's
a fucking
who
psycho.
got like targeted and he retaliated.
No,
he over-retaliated.
He's a
I will
psycho.
admit that he over-retaliated, but he retaliated in the only way he thought.
By how much?
He knew.
Like over-retaliated? Like if scale from 1 to 10. 10 is tank. How much would you have retaliated?
So like,
no, answer the question.
No. Okay, there's
what would you have done?
There's a scene in Die Hard 2 where like he's talking to the terrorist dude, and he's trying to, and the terrorist guy's telling John McClane is like, he's all like, well, every once in a while we have to teach people a lesson, blah blah blah, and he's all like, oh, okay, so lesson 1 is killing cops. What's lesson 2? The neutron bomb? And then the guy goes, he's like, no, I think we could find something in between. And he crashes one of the fucking planes into the airport and kills a bunch of people. So I think
I'm pretty sure Marv watched that movie too.
Maybe. But
all I'm saying is this guy was a fucking psycho and he did that shit.
He wasn't a fucking psycho.
He was a psycho.
He was a dude. His girlfriend said that
This
guy got a okay, let me just he's not a psycho. According to Darren, he's not a psycho. He's not a psycho.
But this is what he did.
He was pushed too far.
Let's just write this down on paper. Like, let's just see it for like the face value of what happened. He felt that the town was fucking him over, and maybe they were, right? Maybe they were.
They were.
Okay, let's say that they were, right? Let's say that they were. Okay. So his response to that was to spend a year and a half creating a heavily armored tank out of a bulldozer where he could stick guns out of and shoot people, and he had cameras. He designed it amazingly. He had air conditioning. He put air conditioning inside the fucking tank, right? He did that for over a year and a half. And on the way there, he never thought, oh, this is a bad idea. You know why? Because he thought that it was a sign from God that he should do it. So he kept going. And he had multiple times where he could have stopped, but every time he told himself, God wants me to do it. But he's not a psycho, according to you. So he goes, he builds the tank, he does everything. And here's the kicker. He builds the tank to where basically the armor around it is, so it's the bulldozer, the little bulldozer's here. And then the armor, he had it above it on a crane. So he gets inside the bulldozer and he lowers the armor down, knowing that he's not going to get out. He knew that he was going to die in that tank. And then he went. And what did he do, Darren?
All right.
But he's not a psycho. Keep in mind, he's not a psycho.
He got pushed too far, man. He's a nice dude who got pushed too far. Anyway, so it was a quiet Sunday morning. I don't know. Actually, I'm not sure. I just do know that it was on April 13th, 2004. 13th, 2004. That's when it happened. You know, he made the tapes and everything. So he's getting ready. And, you know, and like he just busts out. He busts out of his fucking like garage, you know? And, you know, he's headed. Where's the first place you think he's heading? That's right. Because Cody Dochev, not only
their land was right next to each other.
Well, not only did he buy the land, but his batch plant was already built at that point. His shit was already like up and running or whatever, you know? And so he goes and he starts running like.
The way he gets out of the warehouse is badass, though.
He just runs. He just busts right through, dude. He just fucking.
Because he's just like, I know what this thing can do, and I have nothing to live for.
Anyway, so he busts through the fucking wall of his like warehouse that he built. And he goes over to Cody Dochev's like a batch plant and starts like tearing it a fucking apart, you know, and starts like just bulldozing the shit out of it. Cody Dochev comes out with a pistol and starts like trying to take shots out of it, like, you know, like dude,
it's amazing that this is a real story.
Yeah, that people kind of forgot, but we'll explain why they forgot. I think why people forgot.
Oh yeah.
Anyway, they tried shoving like a piece of angle iron into the tracks because there's like, oh, we can get it off track. Nope.
Nothing.
So this thing weighs 100,000 pounds. Okay.
You know what's crazy though? Now that I think about it, do you think that he chose that because of like snowmobiles? Because you know how snowmobiles have treads on them. Like maybe he understood like the value of like
tracks.
Like having a tread like that.
Well, yeah, I think so because.
Because he was a really smart dude.
Okay, yeah.
I'm not going to take that away from him. He was very, very smart. Obviously, he was a very, very smart guy.
What happened at the Cody Dochev plant is that Cody Dochev got inside of a front loader. It was basically just like this thing that's meant to like, you know, pick shit up and drop it in another place that weighs like, I think it was like around 40,000 pounds. And he runs into like, what's his name's bulldozer, Mars bulldozer.
And he was trying to lift it.
He's trying to lift it, but it was picking the back wheels off the ground because it was so fucking heavy. You know what I mean? And yeah, like it was too fucking heavy.
Well, he stopped trying to, because he ran into it with like the front bucket of the bulldozer, and he was trying to lift it up. But when that started happening, nobody knew, because he was shooting at it and nothing was happening. Like the bulldozer just kept going. But when he started trying to do that, Marv, that's when they realized that Marv had like shooting holes in his tank. Because he started shooting at the bucket. And it
was hitting the bucket.
So like he was trying to lift it. And then when he started noticing that there was holes being poked through the bucket, he was like, well, fuck that. So
he had knocked himself out first. Because when he ran into it, he jerked forward, like boom, and he hit the front windshield and he knocked himself out. And then so he was out, right? And then then when he started hearing like, and he's like, oh shit, dude. He's like, I didn't know, done. Like, this is a bad idea. So they stopped that shit. All right. So anyway, after that, like, okay, so he ran through Cody Dochev's land and he just like, you know, fucked up the batch plant. He's heading down the main road or whatever. Glenn Traynor was the deputy at the time, or he's one of the deputies, the sheriff deputies. He got on top of the thing, you know what I'm saying? And he's looking for like a way to like get into it. He sees like the air conditioning duct that the guy had put there or whatever, and he starts like trying to take he gets his 9 out and he starts like shooting in there, but it's not doing anything, not doing shit. And then one of the other deputies starts like tossing him up what do you call it? Flashbang grenades. And
he tried throwing him in the exhaust of the tank.
Yeah, he tried throwing him into like it has like a top exhaust pipe.
Yeah, that's like a bulldozer. Like
yeah.
I mean, we've all seen them, like where they're like right there.
And he starts he throws some flashbangs down there, didn't do shit. You know what I'm saying? And then he's just going down there, and then his next target at that point was
City Hall,
Granby Town Hall. Yeah, Granby Town Hall. He went in there, like he fucked that place up. And like at this point, like the whole
I'm gonna look up something on Wikipedia. Keep going.
Okay. At this point, the whole cop force is out. You know what I'm saying? They're following him like a bunch of You know, like they got all the police cars behind him. Like people are running alongside of it, like seeing what the hell's going on. And then he heads to Sky High News. Sky High News, just as a little like reverse, is where what do you call it? Patrick Bauer works. Patrick Bauer is a guy who like he said he was going to write an article about. He said he was going to run an ad in an article about Marv's like muffler shop, but didn't. And then he ended up trashing him in the same newspaper. And so, well, that's why he went to Sky News. He didn't like he waited.
He ran over the mayor's house too.
Oh, okay. So Patrick Bauer actually he was at
a hardware store.
Well, he was there.
That's where he got fucked up.
What?
The hardware store is where he got fucked up.
Who?
Marv.
We're getting to that. He's still at Sky in the story. He's still at Sky News. Over Sky News. So anyway, Patrick actually he happens to be there, and he runs outside and he takes a picture of him, and then he hears like 2 bullets whiz over his head, and he's like, "No, I'm out." Yeah, I just had those in post or whatever. And the sheriffs finally show up like with a 50 cal, right? And they're just like, "Hey, like let's try taking 50 cal shots out of it." Boom, boom, nothing. Like the 50 cal ain't doing shit. And then at that point he shows up at the Thompson residence, runs over their house and like their shop and all this shit. And at this point, this is when shit could have gotten like really crazy, because he runs up into this place called Independent Petroleum, where they have like a bunch of like industrial sized what do you call
propane
it?
Tanks.
Propane tanks. Sorry, independent propane. And he starts taking shots of it with his 50 cal with incendiary rounds. But the thing about this like bulldozer is it has like a giant claw on the back end, and it was blocking his line of sight, so he couldn't just like take shots out of it. And there were actually like there's scenes of him like shooting, and like the rounds just like popping as they're hitting the back.
He had a sheet of armor there too.
Uh-huh.
So he was trying to move the claw to get the arm out of the way, but he couldn't. So every time he would shoot, like on the video, you can see like just like a puff of like dust, because every time he would shoot, it would just hit his own armor. It's like kind of like ironic that his armor was so good that he couldn't finish the job. You know what I mean?
Well, it's probably a good thing that because that petroleum thing was like or a propane thing.
But he's not a psycho.
Anyway, so after this, he drives off, and they try to take a scraper, which is like this thing that they use to like take like gravel off of the ground and shit like that. And they tried ramming in that into him, but this thing weighs like 60,000 pounds, which is like way less than this thing. And he just like pushes that off the side, no big deal, whatever. But at this point, this is when the we call it the Komatsu starts running out of antifreeze. You know what I'm saying? So like gray smoke starts coming out of it. And he heads towards another target, which was the Gamble hardware store. And what he didn't know, but people who have worked there known, is that the Gamble hardware store had a basement. So he takes out the front, right? And then he starts inching his way towards the left. And
I wonder why he picked that.
He picked the Gamble hardware store because that's where Casey Farrell. So Casey Farrell was on the town board when he was trying to get like all the trying to get his business going and everything. So I think he saw him as he's also one of the guys who approved Cody Dochev's batch plant next to his shop. So when he saw that, he's like, yeah, I'm gonna knock down this shit, because this guy was on the town board too. He said, fuck that. So that's why he knocked that down. That's why he did that. All
right, dude.
Because he owned that shop.
If you were a psycho and
Casey owned that shop.
If you were a psycho and you bulldozed the town.
But he was meticulous. He didn't bulldoze indiscriminately. Bulldoze indiscriminately.
What song would you listen to in your tank?
No, stop it. Anyway.
What song would you listen to in your tank?
Don't say breaking the law. I would.
I wouldn't say that, but if that's your pick, dude, that's pretty good.
That's a horrible pick.
I would pick 5 Minutes Alone.
Anyway,
what's your song? Do break stuff?
Huh?
It's just one of those days where I'm really upset.
Dude, stop. Hold on. We're getting towards the end of this, and it's like actually kind of sad. All right.
Oh.
It is, you dick. Anyway, so after he knocks down like pretty much most of the hardware store, he gets stuck, and he turns off the thing. He turns off the bulldozer, and they're surrounding the bulldozer. And this is at the point where Marv Heemeyer kills himself. You know what I'm saying? He takes 357 Magnum, shoots himself.
They're trying to get in, and they hear a gunshot inside
No, this is before, like after he shoots himself, like that's when they decide like, okay, they try to like light off 2 charges, try to get in.
No, they were already trying to get in. The SWAT guy said that they were on top of the tank. Like they were on top of the tank and they were trying to get in, and he heard a gunshot inside. So
yeah, so he killed himself, and then they tried to like get into the tank, by like they finally got in by cutting it with a.
Well, they put 3 explosive charges on the side of the tank, and they couldn't get in like with those. So they eventually, once again, ironically, it must have been God. They had to use like a torch to like weld or like I don't even know. It's like the reverse of weld. But like to cut into the metal that this fool built his tank out of. And then when they went inside, he was dead because he shot himself.
Right. And so here's the part where I think it's people who knew him versus like what you're doing, like where the Thompsons are kind of like saying like, oh, dude, you do just crazy, blah, blah. Because the people that knew him, which was the Thursday the snow riding crew, they took his ashes, and they got together on a Thursday. They all got together. They revved up their snowmobile motors, you know what I'm saying? Like, and almost gave this guy like a 21 gun salute. And they spread his ashes along the mountains of that area. Cause, everybody who actually knew him as like, a pretty good guy. And even his friend Stuart said is like, I've never heard him talk shit about anybody unless they fucked with him. Like they try to fuck him. You know what I'm saying? Like I've never heard him talk shit about anybody. And his ex-girlfriend said he was like a great person. You know what I'm saying? And then after the fact, okay, and this speaks to the Thompsons' character, like for sure, is that when they were like taking apart the bulldozer and like, the metal and everything, and like they made sure like we're gonna scrap this shit because we're not having anybody build like any monuments to this dude. You know what I mean? Like we're not gonna have anybody collect any of this shit and build monuments. Yeah, right. Because it's bad. It's not a good thing, right?
Right.
And the Thompsons were just like, shit, I think they did a bad idea doing that shit. Shit, we could have helped. We could have put that shit in a museum. We could have made a whole lot of money off of that. Could have made a shit ton of money off of that. Yeah, because that's all they cared about. They didn't give a shit about Marvin Heemeyer. Like they saw after the whole thing was done, they were just like, how do we make money off this dude? How do we make money off of this dude dying? No, fuck the Thompsons. I'm not about the Thompsons. No, trash.
No, and also like when I saw it, you saw it that way, but the way he said it, like the way
he said it that way, he's like, could have made a whole bunch of money.
The way I interpreted it is like he said like, honestly, like the guy that said that he was like impressed by like the engineering of it, and he said that they should put it in a museum
so they could make money. He was interested in tourism dollars. He didn't care about the ingenuity of it. He knew that this crazy shit had happened in his town, and that like small towns, like, like a giant pistachio or a giant like strawberry or whatever.
Alien shit.
Yeah, exactly. Like Roswell with their alien shit.
Yeah.
He knew that it's like, oh, now we got our small town thing. We got a giant like tank tractor. Put that in a museum. Let's make some fucking money, dude. Like that's all they care about. That's
well, I mean,
give a shit about.
It already happened.
No, they didn't. They knocked it down.
No, I'm saying like, but it already happened.
What do you mean?
Like after that, like with the whole bulldozer thing, like it already happened. So it's like you might as well just keep it.
Well, yeah, but like again,
like tell me that
you don't keep it. You don't keep it though.
Tell me that you didn't want to go. Like if it wasn't around, that you wouldn't want to go see it. Knowing all you know about it, like tell me you wouldn't want to go see it.
Okay, yes. Coming from that point of view, I would like to go see it.
Yes, yeah.
But it's also good that they didn't keep it because again, like why?
Yeah, I agree. I agree with that.
But he also killed himself. Like he died, dude. Like he's dead.
Yeah,
and he killed nobody in the process.
But he tried.
No,
he did try.
Warning shots.
No, he tried. He just sucked at it, but he tried.
No,
they weren't warning shots, bitch.
Dude.
They weren't warning shots. You're full of shit.
They were warning shots. Dude.
How is it a warning shot? I don't know why you like this guy so much.
Every time they said anything, they were just like, "Look, I hope the bullets whiz over."
I have no idea why you like this guy so much, but he definitely tried to kill people.
No, he did not.
Yes, he did.
No, he did not.
He shot into the bulldozer with the .50 caliber rifle, trying to kill. He shot into his bucket.
Yeah. Okay. Like he shot into his bucket. The cab is up here. The bucket's down here.
No, but not when you're trying to. Not when you're trying to lift up a bulldozer.
If he's trying to kill this dude, you don't aim down here.
No, dude. He tried to, and then he was trying to blow up the propane tanks.
Well, but there was no one. But like he.
No, they said that they said that if that would have blown up, that it would have fucked shit up for like a huge radius of like people, and a lot of people would have died.
I'll give you that.
He was trying to kill people. It's just, I mean, he definitely wanted to like take their businesses down, but the fact that he got into the bulldozer knowing that he was gonna die doesn't make me feel sorry for him killing himself, because that's what a lot of mass shooters do. Is they go in knowing that they're gonna kill themselves, they shoot up a bunch of people, and then they shoot themselves. It's very rare when somebody's like, oh, I actually believed in this shit, so I'm gonna stay alive because I don't feel bad about it. Like, this fool knew that he was wrong, so he decided.
No, he didn't know he was wrong. He thought in his mind that he was right, and a lot of people thought he was right too. Like that's why I told you, like his friends at the end, like all of his friends, because he had a lot of friends, they got together and they had like a ceremony for him. Like they got together.
Yeah.
Like,
so like that's like, okay, like of course, like I'm pretty sure like fucking like the fucking dude that shot up Las Vegas had a lot of friends that like
I don't think
fucking,
they had a ceremony.
Oh yeah, actually, yeah, that's like way worse. But like, okay, like there's a lot.
No one
of,
had
like,
a ceremony for the Columbine kids. Like no one had a ceremony for that. Like,
dude. No, but I'm sure that a lot of people liked them.
Oh well, yeah. On Tumblr, there's a whole there's a whole thing like on Tumblr. I don't know if it still exists, but essentially is a bunch of like people. I think that kind of worship. They're teenagers and stuff like that. They kind of worship like people. Well, especially the Columbine kids.
Shit.
No, I think it's mainly.
There's a big thing about like chicks liking Richard Ramirez.
Yeah, and
like they're like, oh, he's so hot, like all this shit.
Yeah,
like, what the fuck? Like,
well,
how
the
is
whole
he
thing
hot?
with the Jeffrey Dahmer documentary online, like or on Netflix, where everybody's like, oh, he's so hot.
Or Ted Bundy too.
Anyway,
like he's known as like the handsome killer or whatever.
Yeah, what the
like,
fuck is all that? Anyway, so the reason
that's you with fucking this fool, dude.
No, because I have to tell a compelling story because I'm trying to like explain what he's going, and I'm giving my thoughts on it. Like they try to fuck with me, and this is what happened. Anyway, the reason I think that, or the reason it didn't become like, big front page news, because it was like big news for like a day, is that the day after Ronald Reagan had died. And so Ronald Reagan died the day after, and so news coverage shifted to that, and that's why nobody like sort of remembers this happening, because I didn't remember this shit happening.
I had heard about it before, because I remember when you were telling me to watch it, you were like, oh yeah, it's like this guy, and I was like, oh yeah, there was a guy that built a bulldozer and like fucking ran over a town. But like I remember, like I think it's because also I like watching like a lot of like top 10 shit on YouTube, and I think that I saw it on like top 10 craziest things that whatever, and it came up. But yeah, like I don't mean to like I see your point of view, and I don't mean to like
I will agree that he overreacted by a lot.
But he did try to kill people. He definitely like, I honestly, like, I'm sorry to say, but I don't feel bad that he killed himself, because it's like.
But people did try to fuck with him. I think they did. They legitimately tried to fuck with him.
I think that it might have been a little bit of that, but I don't think that, like, because when he talks about it, he even talked about how like there was some lady at the bank that fucked him over too. Like that, like he tried to go to the bank for something, and then there was like a bank teller that fucked him over. And like,
he wrote like a cheaters, liars department.
Oh yeah,
shit.
and then
he wrote the wrong amount, and he sent in the check.
Yeah, so see, actually, we need to talk about
that.
that too. Like he wrote a check because he had to pay like a fine or some shit.
No,
like that.
because
of the sewage thing.
Right, because the sewage. Right. Okay, so but it's like that's why it's a backwards thing, because they didn't want to let him into the sewage district. They said that you have to go, like you have to build it this way. And he's like, all right, but I need the easement from Cody Dochev, and then he's not going to give it to him. Okay, so until you hook up to sewer, we're going to fine you $100 a day until you do it. And so he was paying that. You know what I'm saying? Like,
right, no, but what he wrote on the check, another weird thing that he did.
No, the liars and department, whatever.
No,
he was pissed.
He wrote the cheaters and liars department. But think about it. He wrote the wrong amount on the check, and they told him that it was the wrong amount.
And he came back and corrected it.
No, but the thing about it is, like, he wrote that, right? And like when you're writing a check and you have like the nerve to like write the cheaters and liars department, he was saying that they raised the amount. he was saying that it was the original amount was like whatever he had to pay.
It was $100 a day.
Right. So, but he was saying that the original amount that he was supposed to pay, they raised it like when he wrote that, like that they raised it. But the reality of the situation was that he just had to pay this fine, but
Per day.
yeah. But what I was thinking about, like when I saw that, like that's when honestly, like I was on your side and his side when it started, but as like the story started developing and I started seeing like more like how this fool is like with the whole God thing and all that, like he wrote that and I could tell that he was in a rage when he wrote it because he wrote the cheaters and liars department. So I'm thinking that he was just like, well, here's your fucking money, like fuck you guys, whatever. And he wrote the wrong amount.
Yeah.
And then he just gave it to them. And then they were just like, hey, I mean, it's cool that you called us cheaters and liars, but it's like, you need to actually pay the right amount. And then he was like, oh my God, no, they're fucking me over again. And it's like,
yeah,
no,
and his
dude,
friend Stuart did say that, like, he's like, you know what, dude? I think he just spent too much time alone.
yeah.
He did say that.
But I mean, like I said, like
I do think they tried to fuck with him. I do think you're right. He did overreact. Shouldn't have done what he did. I mean, fuck, dude. What do you want me to say? What do you want me to say?
yeah, I mean, I don't know, man. He's a definitely a fucking strange character, you know, like, but it is what it is.
It is what it is. Join us next week. We'll be talking about a much lighter situation.
Shout out the new followers, dude.
Shut up, new followers, new subscribers. Eddie for sure. Anyway, we'll cheers to that. Oh yeah, did we already say like and subscribe?
I mean, you just did.
Oh shit! All right, and follow us on IG. We posting pictures all the time, twice a week anyway. And cheers to another episode. Hope you enjoy.
Dudes.
And we'll see you next time.
Don't kill people in a tank.
But do run over their shit if they fuck with you.